Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. You have found yourself in another installment of new stencil? Now what? Okay, so I'm mixing it up a little, but you know, this is the new stamps now what, but this time we're doing new stencil, now what? It's the only web series wherein a middle-aged crafter, thank you, takes something I've never used before and, well, I use it. And today it's all about this stencil from Waffle Flower Crafts. So I'm excited to share this project with you. Will it be cute? Will it be a hot mess? You'll have to stick around to find out. New stencil, now what? Coming up next. So here is the new stencil that I have. This is from Waffle Flower Crafts. And I don't know if you can see, make out here, it's called Rotating Sunburst. And it's got little sketch lines or etch lines that you can line up, and it helps you to position your stencil. And I think this idea is really cool. I love radiating type of rays, but the fact that this gives you a little more control over overlapping and having some funky fun, well, we're going to have some funky fun. I just have my blender brushes that I use with some of my Simon Says stamp inks. I have my cardstock. I'm going to be ink blending on a piece of 6x6 Neenah Solar White. I'm going to be using the Make Art Station, one of my new favorite discoveries of recent times. I have some glitter cardstock that I think I want to use, but I'm not sure. I also have a die that says rainbow and a shadow layer. And the cool thing is I do have new stamps as well because this is part of a bundle. This is a stamp set from Waffle Flower as well. It's called Oversized Rainbow. Now, the cool thing is the die set also will cut out the stamped set. I think I'm only going to use a greeting, and I'm going to use the word die. I think I probably will use the shadow die too, but these are the basic supplies. So, oh, and then I have a few other products, but let's get into it, shall we? So the first thing we're going to do is just place my paper down and place my stencil kind of right in the middle. Now, I have been stenciling lately using my MISTI, but for something like this, the Make Art Station is going to be perfect because I'm going to be doing some wonky rotating and ink blending. So as long as I, it doesn't even matter. As long as I basically cover this in strategic areas, we're going to be good to go. My first color, dull pink. I also like to keep a little piece of scratch paper. This is actually a cheaper copy paper. And that way I can do the old tap off. Now I'm just gonna, this brush actually seems really clean, so I'm not too worried. And by clean, I mean there's no residue on it. And if there is, I'll either do this or just get a paper towel, so we're good to go. What I wanna do is take my dull pink, right? Oh, actually, you know what I wanna do? I love this little guy, this Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively Everything tool, because it holds your pad, so you don't have to hold your pad. And it's kind of this non-slip surface, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to load up my brush nicely. Not too much, right? I don't want this to be just super saturated. And I'm going to be a little heavier in the center and lighten it as I go out. Like that. Just kind of getting started here. Center. And now I'm just going to build it out like that. And work my way out to the tip of the rays. Now, it doesn't matter here if I extend outside the stencil because I am fully planning to trim this down. So I want lighter and then fade out. I've been playing a lot more with my Simon Says stamp inks because there are so many colors. I recently just bumped up the whole system, right? Got more inks. And there's a lot of colors that sort of complement colors from my other dye ink collections. And I've been having fun just sort of exploring the palette of Simon. And the dull pink is a really nice color. All right, so see, we're just fading it out. We're not doing anything hard. The thing that I love about stencils is they kind of make it, well, I'm not going to say idiot proof because I've made some questionable moves in my crafting world, but they really do help you when you're applying ink and going through this whole process. So I'm going to pick this up and show you what I got, okay? Stencil Ray number 1. Looking pretty good. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my little stamp chamois here, and I'm just going to kind of wipe this off because I don't want to transfer. This is very lightly damp. I don't want to transfer this ink into the next color, even though we are going to overlap. So I'm going to just wipe that off. We're going to move on to our next color. We're working in rainbow order, and that's going to be Melon. So here's the fun thing. You're going to take your stencil. Now you can do this in any number of ways to line it up, but what I want to do is I want to make sure, well, let's see here, make sure the center is lined up, so your rays are, and I want to pull it back a little bit so that there's a bit of an overlap for the next color, right? To get sort of a cool, layery sort of look. Okay, now let's start in the center. We're going to do the same thing. Make sure these magnets really do hold your stencil in place. And you know, now that I have this mini, I almost wish I would have bought the bigger one. But you live and you learn. You know, sometimes you try a product out and you're not sure, right? And then you have, well, not regret. I mean, let's be real. As crafters, I mean, I know we regret some things that we purchase, but I have found that. And that's why, for example, I'm mostly just doing all my stamping with the original MISTI. Now I have a number of MISTI tools, but I realized that if you're only going to go in for one, the original MISTI is just the go-to tool. It is for me anyway, because it has literally made stamping and all that good stuff possible for me, but it's such an all-purpose size. And I don't craft on the go, so I don't really, you know, I have mini MISTIs and I love them in the holidays when I'm batch producing things or stamping greetings or, you know, that have to go in the same place and I don't want to take them out. But otherwise, my original MISTI, that is the one. That is the one. And let's take a look at color 2. Ah, isn't that pretty? It's starting to come together. We're going to go into Lemon Chiffon. That is the next color. Line up where we were. And now we're going to go around like that. So again, we're going to get that little bit of overlap, right? With that circle, put these guys right on the edge. Try not to bump them. I'm only doing a partial rainbow. And that's the thing with this stencil. You could, if you did a heavier overlap, you could make much stronger transitions, but I have something in mind, and if it works, I'll explain what I think is going to work, and I think it will. So fading out. The magnets aren't completely foolproof, so I do tend to keep my hand on the stencil as well, especially as I start to put any sort of pressure on my brush as I add this ink. So holding the stencil, not the worst idea. That is our yellow. So let's take a look at that. It's coming together, right? What I want to do, I think, is preserve a little bit of white. And it will all make sense. Oh, that's so bright, so pretty. I only tap this a little bit off because I don't want the ink to just go splotch, you know, so heavy that it just starts to look mucky muck. And that's the only reason I do that. All right, now we're going to just blend out with the green. And then hopefully fade it, hitting those magnets to a light. I keep bumping my magnets. Here we go. Let's move you there. That will help. You can always just shift your magnet. I kind of forget about that. Just take the magnet out of the position and you're fine. I guess the thing that's nice about the magnets too, really, it's just saving you tape. But I will pop up a card in the upper right to the video I shared recently, which a lot of people seem to like, about the little hack I learned from my friend Simon Hurley for using stencils in a MISTI. And apparently, I've mentioned this before, but apparently Jennifer McGuire does that too. It's another way to do it. Now on something like this isn't a layering stencil. It's a single one and we're rotating. So I really didn't need a MISTI. I needed a little more freedom. And that is my little a little sun ray. So you can see there's room for another ray, but I have an idea and I don't want to go over that. So let me go get this washed, and I'm going to get some more cardstock to show you what I'm thinking. So the next step here, I'm framing out a cut that I want to make using one of my A2 layers dies. This is arguably my most used die in the craft / dining room. And you can see here by just kind of figuring out where this is going to go, it doesn't really matter about the mucky muck here on the edge because we're cutting it down. And I love to have a nice crisp panel. So let me grab my die cut machine. Sometimes if my paper is just a little too big, I'll just come in here and give it a good trim with ginormous scissors so that way it will fit onto my platform. Actually, I'm going to cut a little from the side, and I'll tell you why. I like to angle it if I can, just so that when it goes through, it hits a corner instead of going all flat at the same time. I don't know if that helps, but I have been told by people that it helps with cuts and helps your rollers, and who knows if it's true, but let's see how it looks. Let's take a look at our panel, and now I have this beautiful panel that's all lovely and blendy. And what I'm going to do, and this is what I've been thinking, I'm actually going to use the word die, but I also want to use the shadow die, because then I can have this shadow cover the center point so that the rays are coming out. But if I cut my shadow, I'm going to cut it in white cardstock. Let's see here. I do have a piece, because I think, pop you here, and that will go right back into the scrap bin, but let's cut this out and I'll show you. Now, what I'm going to have here is this wonderful shadow layer to pop over, right, like that. And I thought I'd do it at an angle. And what's cool is it creates this visual connection so that the white stripe, the white ray, if you will, makes sense now. See that? So, and I'm going to put this on a white card base. Now, I want to do obviously the word rainbow in here, and I haven't really thought ahead to my greeting, but we'll figure that out. Here's the question. I pulled 2 pieces of glitter cardstock. I do think glitter cardstock is really fun. Would it be cuter to have the word rainbow in gold or silver? See, I feel like gold is warmer, and because I am predominantly on the warmer side of the rainbow, I think I'm going to do this word in the glitter. But I'm also going to cut out, I think, a couple more, well, at least 1 layer in white, maybe 2, so I can stack these together. So I'll go ahead and do all this die cutting, and then we will proceed. That was the right call. Okay, let's get some spray adhesive and start gluing and building up our dimension. I'm gonna spray in a box off camera. I also wanted to point out I have two tweezers. One I call my junky tweezers. Oh, and the good ones are, I'll show you how I can tell them apart. I keep the protector. These are ones that I use that I don't want to get mucky. I've had these for so long. They have so many layers of adhesive. I don't even know what to do anymore, but I have 2 of the same. But let's get started with spraying and layering so we can make this magic happen. These are so delicate. This makes me very nervous, but I'm going to start on this side. And if I get this side going, I think I can do the rest, right? Because then, right, you got that, and you're just going to let go. Oop. Line that up and work your way down. I've gotten so much better at doing this. Truly, I was not great at it when I first started. So if you ever feel like you're just not very good at stacking and gluing, I promise you, you're going to get better, because I got better. And believe me, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. All right, I'm going to add my spray adhesive to the back of my glittery rainbow. I'm surgeon, a craft surgeon here. So I'm Zielske. Been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy. Okay. Now let's get this lined up, just because it is going to give me. Get it lined up well enough. I didn't do it great, but I think that looks good, right? Before I press really hard and commit, just want to make sure. I think I've got a little dye here and there. There we go. Just want to make sure I'm lined up and press. That looks pretty good. It's very delicate, but having the white gives that just a little bit of dimension. So now I think what I will do, this is where I would take my sticky ones and swap them for the ones that are perfectly clean so that I don't get muck when I do this next step. Because, you know, if you're ever working on something, you're like, what? How did I get adhesive there? Why does this look like? A lot of times if you've got sticky on one tool, it's going to, oh, look at the bubbles, it's going to transfer. So what I'm going to do now is just place some little dots around key places. And now I'm going to bring my shadow layer in here. And I love how generous the shadows are. Look at that. That is definitely a favorite thing of Waffle Flower, is they create these very generously sized shadows. Oh, look at that. Pressing that down. Oh, I just lost a tittle. See, that is where you, oh, there it goes again. I'm going to actually grab another tool for tittle placement. It's time for tittle surgery, and I'm going to put these back on so I don't confuse them. I should just put a piece of tape on them, but why would I do that? Why make it easy? Okay, I'm going to build, oh, there we go. I'm just going to build right on this shadow layer. Let's zoom in a little more. Sure. It's kind of washed out, but that way I can take my tittle and place it there. Get that nice one in, see that? And then I'll repeat. It's just so much easier to build these on your actual shadow layer or on your actual project than it is to, I mean, can you imagine trying to freeform that little bad boy? And of course, you just kind of wiggle it into place. I think we're fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think there might have been a little angle to the tittle, but you know what? Oop, we are going for it. So let's, oh, wrong side. Okay. And placing that down. And now I have glitter tittle. Ladies and gentlemen, glitter tittle. Next, I want to add a little dimension to my green or my rainbow. Let's see, let's put that in a key spot. I've got thin foam squares here. Well, is that all going to fit? I love thin foam squares because they are thin. Let's just take that little guy there. Some foam tape to the back of my blended panel, right? My stencil panel. And now rainbow. Oh, that does need a little more. That does need a lick and a promise. Let's get a little more. Sometimes you just got to place it down. Let's see, I got a little piece right here. And see how it's going to stand up on your card. All right. There we go. See that? Isn't that pretty? There are so many little greetings. Enjoy the rainbow. The world is a rainbow. Love comes in every color of the rainbow. I like that. I don't know. Let me think. And here's the other question too. I think I'm going to do it black with white embossing because it will have this beautiful contrast, or will that be too much? Because I could take any one of the Ray colors. Oh my goodness. Now we have more to think about. Had a little idea. I thought about doing green cardstock, but what if I stamped rainbow hugs just on a, you know, we'll just use a scrap, right? We'll just use a little leftover here. And then I could emboss it in either, I don't know if my gilded would be better. I think that I might do both. Let's get the MISTI and let's see if my instincts are right. So let's try, should we do one on each top corner? Then I can test both. Do you know what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to just flip this lovely scrap of paper. I think I just want to prove that you know, I use my scraps, friends. I'm not some hoity-toity, you know. Well, I am. No, I'm not hoity-toity. Okay, I'm going to rub my finger over this just because I have never stamped with it, and we want to make sure we get that nice coating. I will powder top and bottom. I don't know if I'm going to be able. Well, I think it will fit up there. Because then I'm just going to cut it, you know, I'm going to cut it down so it's just a little cute greeting. So let's powder both the top and bottom with the Versamark. Actually, I wish I had a smaller cube because sometimes I feel like I get it all over my door, but maybe we can just be gentle. And what we'll do, I'm going to get my stamping tool ready to press. Bring this down, stamp, lift this up. Oh my gosh, some of my hair is in there. Let's just hope that doesn't transfer. And let's see if this will stamp clearly. Now we got to bring it down a little bit, I think, like that. And then I can try both powders and we can decide which one would look best with. All right, that's how we do. Let's do Gilded on one side. This is Brutus Monroe. It's a really beautiful powder. Okay. Gilded. And then file that back in. File. I'm so corporate, right? This is Ultra Fine Antique Gold. It's very warm, which is why I thought that might work better. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? That might be the best one. I love this powder. It is, well, it's a beauty. Got in there a little too much. Do you keep a dry brush for powder? Look, I'm getting close. I do. Just brush it away. Let's start here. Hugs. Hugs. Quick, easy peasy, and oh, now I'm not sure. You know what? I'm kind of surprised, but I think the Brutus Monroe is closer than the Simon. Can you see that? There's a warmth difference, and I think I'm going to go with the Brutus Monroe. So let me grab my sentiment label. Now, I'm such a fan of using products to cut things, and I think this is another set that I love, the sentiment labels. And actually, let's get this lined up a little better. I'm going to just cut this little guy out, and I'll line this up. I mean, I think having this little greeting in white, I don't do this very often. I don't do strips in white. Like I'll go black, right? But I think this is fun. And I'm just going to hold it in two places so it doesn't move. Let me go run this through my die cut machine. I need to go grab my paper trimmer to trim this down. I'm going to show you my favorite little hack for doing that. It's a simple hack. It's just for getting equal trimming from side to side. And all I do is I'm gonna line this up, take the furthest most letter to the right, and have the cutting guard be right there. Take your hands out, of course. Cut that, flip it, and do the same thing. It's just such a quick way to, well, it's going to be a little trickier here because it's such a short. Ooh, let's see. I think that'll be okay, right? Sure. Hold it and cut. That's just my little hack. I like this little hack because it gives you perfectly trimmed sentiment from side to side. Now, let's see how this is all going to come together. All right, let's make our card base. Right, 4 1/4. Yes, this is going to be a landscape orientation. US A2 size, which is 5.5 wide by 4 1/4 tall. Nice press there on the cardstock. Okay. You in a little. All righty, now let's bring in the pieces. And I think what I can do, oh my gosh, I love this so much. It's just so happy. I have a thought about this and I'm not quite sure. So let's start with getting our, where's my greenie? Our panel down. Okay, so I'll just take the backers off, just 3 pieces of foam tape here. And I'm going to just stand up here over my card. I'll look down to visualize all 4 sides, get it in the right place. I actually just look at the top 2 corners and the right sides, and then I'm pretty sure we're going to be fine. Give me a little off. No one's, the margin police aren't coming for me. They might be, but you know, it's hard to say. So what I think I want to do here, number 1, I want to have the rainbow at an angle. I think that's dynamic and it works with this. I think I would like to have hugs a little higher. Does that make sense? Like pop it up a little bit. So what I can do here is I can take a thicker foam square, which I'm going to do. I'm going to, well, I actually guess I do have it cut here. I'm going to pop a thicker foam square. Let's make sure we're doing this in the right direction. Oh, hugs. Here. And I'm going to check that first to see if that's the right amount of clearance. Is that the right amount of clearance? You know what? It's going to need a little more. So here's the beauty of foam squares. You can layer them. So you can take a thick and you can take a thin and you can stick them together for a little, a little custom depth. Don't be afraid to go custom because now, let's see here, it will clear right how I want it to clear. And again, I'm not sure yet how I'm gonna, am I tilting it that way? Am I tilting it that way? I don't know yet. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna come down a little bit because I think from side to side we've got that. The thing I like about maybe doing it in a different dimension, in a different angle, it kind of creates a little bit of drama. So let's bring back, are we still? Yeah. Let's bring back our Connect glue and let's take the backers off of all this. The time involved, but it's crafty time. It's happy time. I'm not complaining. Just keep filming it. We'll cop it down. One of the reasons that I like using heavier cardstock for shadow layer bases, oh, there's one too, is because it's just sturdy, I mean, I don't know if my recipient will keep this card. I really don't. And I don't worry about that. And I'll tell you why. Oh, first things first, I'm going to use a little liquid adhesive here. I just like to get it started on a scrap of paper. Do I not have a scrap of paper? Just want to make sure it's coming out fine. Yep. I'm going to do a little liquid on the back of my dots, my pop dots, my foam squares. Can't speak because I want to have a little playtime for wiggling my greeting into place. And foam squares, they stick hard and fast to wherever you place them. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I look to the left swoopy and the right swoopy. Place that down. See, we want that side to be equal. And we do like that angle. Oh, it's so cute. Maybe come over a little like that. And I kind of want that to be just like that. See how I can wiggle that before it gets completely committed? Now, do we think the hugs at a little going in an opposite angle? For some reason, I just think that's kind of cute, rainbow hugs like that. Yeah, or should I come in a little more? What I don't want to do is trap white space. I don't want to have it in like that where this little bit of space right in here has nowhere to go or breathe. That's called trapped white space. And we don't like trapping white space. We want the white space to feel open and allow it to breathe. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I think I am. I think I'm going to just, yeah. I know it's a lot. I put a lot of thought into this, but I do think this is really sweet to have that at a different angle. Like that. And then it's just floating above. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Gotta take a deep breath. We've been at it for a while. I think that's the finished card. I thought about putting some clear dots on here or maybe some sequins, but I don't have the right color gold sequins. So I'm going to just let this stand as is, right? I know there's no boops. How about this? Boop, one big card. But that's the finished card featuring this stencil. And again, incorporating empty white space into the card project to create this unity, right? So you've got that white cardstock, white cardstock, white cardstock, white bands. It all ties together, and yet you still have this beautiful, colorful set of rays emanating from the center. Anyway, I hope you're inspired to check out the new release, but also, play with any ray stencils that you have to kind of create this overlapping effect and incorporate that white space into your next card project. All supplies can be found linked below. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.